Paul. Paul endured, Paul went everywhere, and everything Paul did was the hard way, but it was by the grace of God. It wasn't an easy road, and whenever I start studying about Paul and seeing what he went through, and we can go out and get in a car, we've got telephones, and we've got everything in the world, we don't have an excuse one.
That's right.
And Paul is someone that we all ought to study and try to be a little bit like. Listen to the words. His grace is sufficient. The old tent maker was down on his knees, talking to God about his troubles and needs. His faith was strong, his need it was real. He cried to the Lord, his affliction to heal.